2 days ago, 4 astronauts splashed down in the Pacific Ocean after doing something no human had done in over 50 years.
They went to the moon. They didn't land. They didn't walk on the surface. But they got closer than any living person ever has.
And what they saw out there changed everything. In December 1972, Eugene Cernan took the last steps on the lunar surface. He said we'd be back soon. That was 54 years ago. After Apollo 17, the United States just stopped. The space race had been won.
The Soviet Union couldn't compete.
And Congress cut the funding. NASA shifted its focus to the Space Shuttle, a spacecraft that never left low Earth orbit. There were 135 missions over 30 years.
None went beyond 370 miles altitude. The moon is 239,000 miles away.
When the shuttle was retired in 2011, the US didn't even have a rocket capable of carrying astronauts to space. They depended on Russia to reach the International Space Station. But in 2017, everything changed.
NASA received a direct order. Go back to the moon. This time, to stay. The program is called Artemis.
In Greek mythology, Artemis is Apollo's twin sister. The name is no coincidence.
To go back to the moon, NASA needed a new rocket. Not just any rocket. The most powerful ever built. The Space Launch System, or SLS, generates 8.8 million pounds of thrust at liftoff. That's 15% more powerful than the Saturn V that carried Apollo astronauts to the moon. But the SLS isn't exactly new. Its main engines, the RS-25s, are the same ones from the Space Shuttle, repurposed.
The side boosters are larger versions of what the shuttle used. It's as if NASA took the best parts from the past and assembled something entirely different.
The capsule that sits on top is called Orion. It was originally designed for the Constellation program, a previous program that was cancelled in 2010.
Orion survived the cancellation. Nearly a decade later, it finally had a rocket underneath it.
In November 2022, Artemis I sent Orion, uncrewed, on a trip around the moon. It worked perfectly. The next step was putting people inside. That took longer than anyone expected. Technical problems, heat shield delays, safety concerns. The date slipped from 2024 to 2025, and then to 2026. On April 1, 2026, 4 people climbed into the Orion capsule atop the SLS. Reed Wiseman. Commander. ISS veteran. Navy test pilot.
He became the oldest person to travel beyond low Earth orbit.
Victor Glover. Pilot.
First black person to travel beyond low Earth orbit.
He'd already flown on SpaceX's Crew 1 mission in 2020. Engineer, fighter pilot, Navy officer. Christina Koch. Mission specialist.
First woman to travel beyond low Earth orbit. Holder of the record for longest continuous spaceflight by a woman.
328 days aboard the ISS. Jeremy Hansen. Mission specialist from the Canadian Space Agency.
First non-American to travel beyond low Earth orbit.
Canadian fighter pilot. His presence represents the international partnership at the core of the Artemis program. 4 people. 4 historic firsts. Each of them did something no human being in history had ever done before.
On the 6th day of the mission, April 6, Orion entered the moon's gravitational sphere of influence.
At 7:02 p.m. Eastern Time, they reached closest approach. 4,070 miles above the lunar surface.
From that vantage point, the moon filled the entire capsule window.
But the most extraordinary moment came an hour later.
At 8:35 p.m., the sun began to disappear behind the moon. The crew was watching a solar eclipse from space. Orion, the moon, and the sun aligned perfectly. For nearly an hour, they watched the moon go almost completely dark. Around the lunar edge, the solar corona, the sun's outermost atmosphere, glowed like a ring of fire. No human being had ever seen anything like it from that perspective. And at some point during the flyby, Orion reached 252,756 miles from Earth. 406,771 kilometers. Farther than any human has ever been from our planet. The previous record belonged to Apollo 13, set in 1970. On April 10, Orion re-entered Earth's atmosphere at over 25,000 miles per hour. The heat shield reached 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Nearly half the temperature of the sun's surface. At 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time, the capsule splashed down in the ocean off California. All 4 astronauts emerged healthy.
Artemis II didn't land on the moon. But it proved that Orion works with people inside. That the life support systems hold up. That the heat shield protects during re-entry. That humans can go there and come back. Next up is Artemis III, planned for 2027. A test in low Earth orbit with the lunar landers from SpaceX and Blue Origin. And then Artemis IV in 2028. The first moon landing in over half a century. But that's just the beginning. The real goal isn't to visit the moon. It's to live there. To build an orbital station called Gateway. To establish a surface base. To use the moon as a stepping stone to Mars. 54 years after Eugene Cernan left his last footprints in the lunar dust, humanity went back. And this time, the plan is to stay.